last December, so about a year ago, I interviewed 4 to 5 vaccine injured people. Mainly, I think they were all from British Columbia. There was a woman, an elderly woman, who survived. Her husband didn't. He was dead within, I don't know, a week or two of the shot. She had a reaction, and I wasn't even expecting her to tell me I didn't know she was going to be saying what happened like this. And so she's talking about these demonic entities that were like coming at her. It started 15 minutes after the vaccine, lasted a couple of days. And I talked to her daughter and said, like, has your mom ever been diagnosed with like any mental diseases, schizophrenia, anything like that? She goes, no, my mom's perfectly healthy. She's never had any of these issues. She's telling the truth. And I was there while she was acting crazy. So she recovered. Now she's telling me about these entities that she saw. And more videos around the world are coming out of people looking over their right shoulder, freaking out. You'll notice in a couple of the ones I show you, their eye does exactly what Katy Perry's eye did, where one eye goes screwed up or actually goes off to the right just before they start circling and swatting at things and fighting things in the air.
So we got the shot on April the 8th, I think it was, a Pfizer, and then the trouble began.
Okay. What was the trouble?
Well, he didn't have as much of a symptom as I did. In that probably the same afternoon, I started to get so dizzy and sickly feeling, but the dizziness and which we say your brain seems to get into another place, and that was so discombobulating that I fell and broke my hip, my leg up at the hip there.
Oh.
Then, of course, I went to the hospital, but by this time I had started being hallucinogenic, I guess, because I couldn't get out of this terrible space that my brain was in, that I was in a bad nightmare. Visually, I just kept seeing a bad black smoky thing and snakes and it looks like devilly creatures. They seem to me very evil. There seemed to be an evil component, because these little things that were coming in my vision were they looked like undersea creatures, but they had a devilish look. And also in the mix there was many snakes, and I got quite disgusted and feeling bad about that. The other thing that was really awful was this terrible smell. Now, this wasn't just like a visual image. I felt I was right in this cave or smoky place. The smell was so awful, and I was really scared. I couldn't stop trembling and being scared. And my daughter, I had her on the phone because I wasn't feeling well, and she said I was stammering and I couldn't seem to speak. My head was just completely in an upset state. So after the doctor, of course, I had to go to the hospital with my broken hip leg, and it was broken right up near the hip there. Anyway, in the hospital, this continued on, and it was a better part of a week, and I was still feeling trembling and scared, and I couldn't really talk, and I couldn't see well. But the main thing was this terrible psychological fear that I had. It was the nearest thing I ever came and I could ever imagine to becoming suicidal, because it seemed like a thing I couldn't get out of it. And it was just so awful that one evening in the hospital, one of the nurses, she sat and prayed with me, because I said, I'm so scared. I don't know how I can go on. And she was very good. And I was blessing her. It seemed a little bit of a help. And then gradually, after a couple more days, it wore off a little bit. But the memory of it just even makes me feel bad now, because it was a terror moment, and the feeling that you just can't, you're just helpless. It was I don't know what drug trips are like or like anything like that, but it was the worst sensation. But it was not just visual. The thing, it was so physical with me too, and I can't ever forget the bad smell that went with it. And I don't remember sound so much, but just the fact that my whole body seemed to be cooked. And
Cooked. They talk about that in the Bible too, at end times, people's bodies burning up from the inside out. The most interesting part of that interview I found was when she said, it literally was like I was somewhere else. The smell, these things coming at me. She said, I was somewhere else. So this poor lady got the vaccine and then like passed out and broke her hip. Nice, meaning unbelievable what's happening to people. And her husband died after the vax, but she obviously did not. So bless her. I haven't talked to her in a year. I hope she's still alive. I really do.